You ever see Nate Diaz when they go, hey, were you ever bullied as a kid? And he just looks and he goes, no, I had a big brother.
Diaz always throws caution to the wind. Oh, tagged by this first welterweight champion.
And you're like, and your heart swells and you go, fuck yes.
And his
Stockton.
big brother was Nick
Diaz.
Diaz.
Nick fucking Diaz.
Pardon my language.
Before there was real money in the sport, Nick Diaz was the personality MMA needed at the time. He did slick trash talk like nobody had ever seen, and every single time he'd back it up.
Nick's antics inside the octagon fuck with a lot of people's heads.
Sure.
Like the first fight with Robbie Lawler, Nick took that shit talking to DEFCON 5. And the first thing he does, he gets into the octagon, he looks over at Robbie, he goes, Stockton, motherfucker! Stockton! And he starts walking around, Stockton, mother... And Robbie's like, what the fuck is he talking about?
What does that even mean?
Wow, I just never expected this. I never expected to see him taunting Robbie like this and standing in front of him with his hands down. That's crazy. Right to the
Open
ground.
hand slap by Diaz. Oh my! And he rocks Robbie Lawler. Look at Diaz.
Watch your
mouth, bitch. No talking.
He got rocked and he got angry. Steve Mazzagatti said no talking. I didn't know that was a rule.
Nick Diaz, I'm going to call him Nick from now on for short, started his professional MMA career all the way back in 2001 under the organization IFCWC, a generally unknown organization back then as it still is now, where Nick then tallied wins in various other organizations, but really got his foot in the door with a UFC contract in 2003, where in his second fight he got that infamous win over future welterweight champion Robbie Lawler.
And again, that could be because he's got experience. Right when I said
Combination. Diaz knocks down Robbie Lawler. And it's all over.
Robbie Lawler.
And it's all over.
But shortly after a brief UFC run, he was actually cut, mostly because of his attitude before and after fights. So, at a time where the UFC was trying to clean itself up and be more professional, and then would decide to flip off the judges after his loss to Sean Shirk, and then proceeded to repeatedly curse in his post-fight interview, and went off in the system that made him lose. After hearing that, it might not be hard to see why Dana didn't like that.
One comment, man. One comment.
No, don't be scared, homie.
Again, living up to his reputation as the bad boy of mixed martial arts, the Diaz brothers, public enemies #1 in Hawaii.
That's fucking illegal.
But this happening proved to not be all bad, as he continued to establish himself as a fan favorite, where he then fought in various organizations, but most notably Strikeforce, where he went on the greatest Strikeforce run of all time. A good example in this stream of wins at Strikeforce would be his vacant Strikeforce title fight with Marius Zaromskis.
Titillating stare down prior to the opening bell of this, the main event of Strikeforce Miami for the vacant Strikeforce welterweight title. Finds Zaromskis as well. Overhand left by Diaz, already hurting Zaromskis. On him now by Diaz, taking him, looking to run the pipe. This is not good.
He's landing him.
And Diaz always throws caution to the wind. Tagged by and there's blood now with the legs of Andre Ward. Oh, uppercut! And that jack to John Zaromskis!
Oh, big body shot there. Diaz crushing it. Their bodies are gone. They're absolutely wild.
Down goes Zaromskis! As is the Strikeforce welterweight champion!
Nick Diaz. Pardon my language.
Pardon my language. That's the best part of that fight. Anyways, now that Nick was running the welterweight division as champion, he now got to show his continued refinement since the early 2000s. And this is most evident in his high output boxing that he developed, which picked people apart round after round, while at the same time doing the very on-brand trash talk.
Real basic. Goes to the body, to the head, and that body really hurts Smith. And it goes to the body again. And Smith wobbly. But remember, he can pull it out. He's done it before. He did it to Benzie Roddy. Changing the range. That body shot. Got the choke. Got him back. And he tapped him out. Just like that.
And on top of that slick boxing that I just mentioned, he is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His guard on the ground was very good. His submission over Evangelista Santos. It's one of those finishes that got me originally interested in grappling exchanges when I first started to learn about the sport.
Cyborg, and there is the first takedown of the fight. A trip takedown by Cyborg. He is also a BJJ black belt. But
one part of his game I haven't even mentioned yet is his incredible cardio. He genuinely had one of the greatest gas tanks of all time. He stays with this constant pressure, not putting full power into shots, mind you, just enough to sting and build up over time to eventually overwhelm his opponent.
1:33 to go. He's got nothing. Here comes Diaz. Elbow strikes now.
On the ground.
Diaz moving in. The living legend goes down with a body shot. Ground and pound. And it's over.
Wow.
After this stream of wins, he deservingly got a new contract with the UFC, where he then fought the most elite level opponents he'd ever faced up until this point. And now that he was in the UFC again, his fame truly skyrocketed, as his attitude and personality didn't change.
Fighting the winner by unanimous decision, Nick Diaz!
Welcome back, and I can't wait to see you fight for the title.
What's up, Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
But after losing 2 decisions to 2 of the best welterweights of all time, George St. Pierre and Carlos Condit, he had a very entertaining yet controversial fight with Anderson Silva. But of course, he kept the shit talking, which must have been very nice to see at the time.
I want him to be mic'd. We need to drop a microphone in there so I can hear what he's saying. He is talking mad trash. Who knows where Anderson's head is at right now? Wow, really? Look at this.
Nick Diaz is doing an Anderson. I don't think Anderson will be goated in.
Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
For the winner by unanimous decision, Anderson the Spider!
After this loss, it actually got overturned because both Anderson Silva and Nick tested positive for substances. But the thing here is Nick only tested positive for marijuana, while Anderson tested positive for PED usage. You might hear this and assume that Nick got a slight suspension, if any at all, while Anderson should get the real punishment. Well, you'd be wrong, because the opposite happened actually. Nick got a 5-year suspension, and Anderson got a 4, which was quickly reduced to 1 year.
It's so unfair. If one person tests for steroids that could actually really hurt a person, and the other person smokes a plant that makes them happy, and he gets suspended for 5 years, whereas the guy that could have hurt someone so much that he could have died in there gets a slap on the wrist. It's not fair.
So Nick, after finding new peaks in his career, he was made an example by the crooked Nevada State Athletic Commission. It honestly ruined his career in his prime. In my opinion, he would have became welterweight UFC champ if they didn't stop him. Of course, he did have one more fight 6 years later with Robbie Lawler, nearly 20 years after his original fight with him, but he just wasn't the same. Anyways, I'm going to let his final post-fight interview after that fight with Robbie Lawler play out after I'm done talking here, but Nick to me will always be remembered as one of my favorite MMA athletes of all time. And just so you know, I try to upload 3 times a week. If at any time you started liking this video, consider subscribing. Also, I answer every comment, so if you have any video ideas, options, stuff like that, let me know. Okay? Bye-bye.
I'm glad I knew I was leaking here, so I didn't want to make too much of a mess. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to put on a little show for you.
Nick, the people love you. That was a fantastic fight. I hope that we get to see you again in the octagon, man.